Ever wondered what would happen in a novel with a protagonist that combines the insanity of Deadpool with the power of time looping? Me neither. Until I discovered The Perfect One, a time loop apocalypse webnovel where the main character reaches the end of the world like a speedrun. Quicksave aka Ryan Romano is a time looper with a very special mode of operation. Get to a location with objectives in mind, create a save point before he enters said location, try to do objectives in the best way possible, die, then restart. You might be wondering what sets this apart from all the other regression and time loop stories. Honestly, that's understandable, especially with no context whatsoever. But everything hinges on this one brutal, self-imposed condition. Ryan will never create a new save point until all objectives are completed in a perfect way. This is what he calls the perfect one, an approach that, along your reading journey, will reveal the side effects of going through countless loops caused by inside perfectionism. But before we dive into whatever it is Ryan Romano thinks is the perfect way to die, we need to talk about the world this story takes place in. The perfect one takes place in this dystopian future where the world's a mess and is still trying to get back on its feet after a big collapse. In the middle of that, we've got New Rome, Europe's flashy but messed up capital of sin. A playground for mega corporations, sponsored heroes trying to look good, superpowered criminals doing whatever, and even monsters. Safety is pretty much a second luxury this world has to offer. To get it, you need money, guts, or preferably both. That's why you can grab yourself a miracle in a needle, inject it, and hope it doesn't turn your insides into soup. You wanna be special? You've got to risk it all. But will any of that stop Ryan Romano? Oh no, as New Rome is about to become his playground, and the new perfect one is about to begin. The first thing you realize when starting the novel, and upon reading Ryan's arrival in New Rome, is that not only does he lack any common sense, but also loves being overly dramatic and comedic. He really hates boredom more than anything, which should remind you of a certain character. And this is one of the most interesting points of this novel. Ryan, to accomplish his goal, will do things at a random pace, always trying new things in the most eccentric ways possible. When I mean eccentric, I really mean it. Example will be when his favorite Plymouth car got scratched. Life wasn't worth living anymore, so he just decided to explode the car with him and simply restart the entire loop again. That's how eccentric Ryan is, but there's also a surprising amount of depth to his character as well. You see, Ryan might be somewhat insane right now, but that wasn't always the case. This is merely the side effect of always repeating loops. Again and again, while going through those loops, Ryan had to learn to survive through them. And learning is one of Ryan's best talents paired with super memorization skills. It allowed him to use each loop as a learning process and made him someone that can handle any challenges. By this point you will realize Ryan can handle himself in any man way, be it in the way he acts or the way he's thinking. In the end, it's important to remember that Ryan's insanity is mainly a side effect of his powers. But wait, I realized that I had yet to talk about Ryan's goals. Why even start a perfect one in New Rome? Well, Ryan's arrival in New Rome is no coincidence. You see, Ryan is in search of an old friend of his called Len, someone he lost contact with years ago after becoming a superhuman. Finally, after years of search, Ryan found out the place where that old friend was all along, New Rome, the capital of sin. Truth be told, Ryan's only reason for starting a new perfect one is to find that friend, ready to repeat as much as possible to get the reunion he always wanted. But along the way, Trouble will find Ryan, or must I say Ryan will find Trouble, which will add up new additional objectives to his perfect one. Only Ryan can decide the fate of New Rome, as in the end, what only matters to Ryan is the accomplishment of all objectives in the perfect way possible. An enigmatic figure known as the Alchemist created and randomly distributed Elixirs as an experiment to uplift humanity. Those Elixirs granted people with powers beyond their dreams, which in return led the world into a chaotic era. As the world rebuilt itself slowly, nowadays the superhuman are called genomes. Each have different powers based on the color of their elixir. Color are what determines their domain of power. As for what determines the power in a side domain, it's simple, it's desire. The greater the wish, the higher the chance that you will get a power related to that wish. But that's not all. Being a genome is great, but what if someone were to take another elixir on top of the one they already got? Well, I wouldn't recommend it, as it will just lead to a state of craziness if you're lucky, and that was becoming a monster. Those people aren't called genomes anymore, they're called psychos. Of course they get to keep the second elixir power, but was it worth it? Few people live to tell the tale. Coming back to Ryan, we need to talk about his powers and abilities. Ryan is a violet genome, which is related to space-time. As a violet genome, Ryan got multiple abilities, such as stopping time for 10 seconds, with a cooldown based on how much time was stopped. Oh, and yes, Ryan stopped time for everyone but him. To activate such power, Ryan needs a conscious effort. If you were to go above those 10 seconds, Ryan will then create and replace the person on save. Ryan also got a temporal awareness, always knowing when and where the time is moving, or even gone if such a case were to happen. This allows Ryan to later go into an autopilot mode to repeat actions of a previous loop, though it isn't really a pleasant feeling for him. Since the beginning of this video, I've been talking about time loops, and so the question you might have is, how repetitive are they? Well, let me say this, the loops in this Webnovel are written in such a way that it doesn't feel repetitive. They are done in a way that feels fresh, as the reader won't have to suffer the common loops problems. Ryan always thinks one step ahead and acknowledges that you won't be able to get his perfect one instantly. So instead, he goes entirely different routes to gather new informations, which avoids problems such as tunnel visioning every step of the loops or slight uninteresting changes that don't add up to the narrative. What I can promise is that you won't feel bored reading Ryan's journey lost in all those loops. Each will feel different enough that you won't feel like reading the same thing over and over. The Perfect One is honestly one of my favorites Webnovels. It comes with a compelling story that doesn't overstay its welcome, and with a protagonist that breaks the codes in the similar kind of stories. Expect a good mix of seriousness and humor with Ryan. But not only that, you can expect along with Ryan other great characters while also getting some good world building with an interesting but not overcomplicated power system. Another good thing about Perfect One is that the author knew when it was time to introduce the reader, with either Ryan quirks or some deep dark moments, such as something called past fragments, unique interludes that tell a story about the past. Those fragments will reveal the atrocity of the world before it was rebuilt. Those will make you understand how Ryan went from a sane dude to a walking disaster spreading chaos everywhere he goes. So is the Perfect One really for you? It might be your next novel if what you want is a refreshing story that tries to be different from others in that same genre. Ryan Romano is a character that will grow on you. You will see him change through all those loops, be it in a good or bad way. As inside perfectionism does not always mean it will lead someone to doing the right thing. But behind that perfectionism is a character that suffered an insane amount of traumas. Side effect of powers that maybe nobody should ever come into contact with. So interested yet? If so, have a great read, and if not, well, at least I hope you had fun watching this.